Just 7 games left for Premier League clubs this season, unless of course you support Newcastle United or Crystal Palace. And what an important game that could be. It's obviously going to be huge for Newcastle with their Champions League hopes, but I think it could become quite an important fixture for Crystal Palace as well. Stick with me, I'll explain why in just a minute. But welcome to matchday 32 of the Premier League. We might not have a title race, we might not have a relegation battle, but what we do have is chaos when it comes to qualifying for European football next season. Lots of spots up for grabs, lots of teams in the running. I think there's going to be a few twists and turns between now and the final whistle going on the 25th of May. Welcome to the Tartan YouTube channel, where we will be previewing and predicting the outcome of every game this weekend. Please do subscribe if you're new around here, and also drop a like on the video as well by clicking the thumbs up. It helps out the video and helps out the channel. Thank you very much. And get involved, don't be shy. Comment section below, give me your predictions. I've had a fiver on all 10 of my predictions, just the outcome. If it's correct, if all 10 are correct, I win 74 grand, £74,000. Low expectation, a little bit of hope, and I'm going to need a little bit of luck along the way as well. You just never know. Got to be in it to win it, right? So the Premier League weekend gets underway at the Etihad. Man City against Crystal Palace. And my word, City are just bland at the moment, aren't they? They're just stale. And there's been a lot of criticism around the Manchester derby, which is valid. It was a very boring game. However, I think you have to separate the two Manchester teams. I don't think it was the worst result for Man United, bearing in mind how terrible they've been this season. I think they just needed to stay out of the headlines, because old Man City would have whipped them 4-0. That Man U team that rocked up last weekend would have got thumped by Man City, prime Man City under Pep Guardiola. So 0-0 wasn't the worst result for the red side of Manchester. I think it was a worst performance for Man City. A lot made up about how this was De Bruyne's final Manchester derby. I thought he was terrible, and I thought the team was even worse. Really poor at the minute, Man City. It just feels stale, and it's hard to see that changing this weekend. Put it this way, if I was to tell you that the game finished 2-1 at the Etihad between Man City and Crystal Palace, and I didn't tell you who won, I think a lot of you would assume Crystal Palace were the winners. Now, while Glasner's been at Palace, they've played Man City twice, and on both occasions they've scored 2 goals. Finished 2-2, and then they got beat 4-2. However, there's goals in this Palace team. I'm not so sure there's goals in this Man City team. So my prediction at the Etihad is Man City 1, Crystal Palace 2. And they're only 5 points behind Fulham, who are in 8th, and they've got that game in hand. I don't think Palace are out of the European race. They've done incredibly well to get to where they are. They've got some tough fixtures. I've had a little look at the fixtures between now and the end of the season. There's some hard ones in there. But there's also a couple in there I look at and think, do you know what? Palace win, Palace win, Palace win. I think they've got, it might be a small one. I think Palace have got a shot of finishing 8th and getting Conference League football, because the teams above them, they're not in great nick at the minute. Palace are an in-form side. I think they'll win on Saturday. 3 p.m. we get underway. Brighton against Leicester. I mean, how can you not go for Brighton win? You have to, don't you? I'm going to go 2-0 Brighton. And they're a funny team to work out, Brighton, for the whole season. One weekend I watched them. They look really good. The next weekend, they look a bit, I don't want to say clueless, but they're just lacking inspiration. They're not really in the game. It was easy to play against Brighton. But then they've won a run of games where they're just scoring goals. Everything's clicking. Hurzel's tactics are there. But then I tune in the following weekend after 3 or 4 impressive games, and it's just gone back to what it was. I'm struggling to work out what they're trying to do. Lost the last couple of games. They need to get a win. They can get European football. If there's any team you want this weekend, it's Leicester at home. It's not Southampton. They've changed their manager. We all know what happens then. Leicester are the team you want. 8 games without scoring a goal now. It's just pathetic. It is pathetic. Their attitude, their application against Newcastle was horrendous. I would have been fuming if I was a Leicester City fan. I was almost, part of me was laughing at how bad it was, but part of me was almost angry on behalf of Leicester fans, saying, because it's not like they've just started playing like this. Leicester played like that all season. Not good enough. Easy win for Brighton. Nottingham Forest against Everton. This is getting tasty because Forest aren't quite in a position where they can just grind out draws. With 3 or 4 games to go, they might be in a position where if they can draw 2, win 2, they'll get Champions League football. But they're not there yet. They still need to be picking up wins. They have to assume Chelsea and Man City will keep on winning. It feels unlikely. Forest have to assume that. Now, Everton, depends how you want to look at it. You know, I've written them down here. But no win in 6 for Everton. But at the same time, they've only lost once against Liverpool. So you could look at it, which is they're not getting beat, Everton. But you could also look at it that they're not winning games. I'm going to do the latter. I think Forest will sneak this. I'm going to say 1-0 to Forest at the City Ground. And I actually think they might close the gap. Weirdly, this is going to sound really weird, but that result, Arsenal beating Real Madrid, was fantastic for Nottingham Forest. Not just because 5th place gets Champions League, so the rest of the season goes a little bit wrong for Forest. They've still got that 5th spot to get. But almost Arsenal will surely turn their attentions to the Champions League now. They're not going to catch Liverpool. They're not going to drop out of the top 4. Focus on the Champions League. You might find Forest closing the gap pretty quickly on that North London side. We'll wait and see. But I think they do on Saturday. Southampton take on Aston Villa. And this is possibly the game that Villa could do without. Facing Southampton would have been good. Hello. But now they've sacked Juric. Rusk is in charge with Adam Lallana. You would expect big changes for this Southampton side. And we've seen it in the past, haven't we? Already relegated sides, suddenly there's no pressure, there's freedom. They're able to go out there and just enjoy themselves, give their fans something to be happy with for 90 minutes. It's a bad season, but if you could put in a couple of decent performances, reward their fans for their support, you just never know. Rusk might look at this as an audition for the Southampton job, obviously linked to various matters. I've seen him linked to Will Still yesterday. Steve Cooper, Danny Roll. We'll wait and see who they get. But Rusk might fancy this. Villa, off the back of a disappointing result in the end. I think 2-1 would have been a good result to take back to Villa Park, but 3-1 feels like a terrible result. Just 1 goal, but this swinging mood is quite drastic. The reality is PSG made Villa look like Southampton. PSG was just that good. It wasn't necessarily that Emery got his tactics wrong. I think they just struggled. I think you had to be almost perfect against PSG, and Villa were not quite that. And it puts them in an awkward situation because they can't afford to take their eye off the ball in the Premier League. Arsenal can afford to rest players this weekend. Villa can't. They're still in the race for Champions League football. They've got to win. And I think they will. So I'm going to say 2-0 Aston Villa, because while there's change at Southampton, there might be a little bit more enthusiasm. Ultimately, it's still the same group of players who are not good enough for this level. Moving on to the 5:30 game, it's Arsenal against Brentford. I'm going to go 1-1 just for reasons I've already covered. Brentford are a hard team to work out. I think they, historically as well, they're one of the first teams to sort of go on the beach a little bit. No relegation, no European football. Let's just chill out. Arsenal, however, bigger priorities at the minute. Fantastic result, incredible result against Real Madrid. Incredible goal scored as well. Arteta will likely and should rest players this weekend. If he was to rotate everyone, I would completely understand. A loss to Arsenal this weekend isn't a big deal. I think it'll be 1-1 though. Moving on to Sunday, we've got 4 games in the Premier League, and we're going to go to Anfield first. Liverpool take on my team, West Ham. I'm going to go 2-1 Liverpool. I think West Ham will turn up and play like we did against Arsenal at the Emirates. We'll be defensive, try and shut them out. Ultimately, Liverpool, been a bit wobbly so far. Lots of games, lots of football in February. Has it taken its toll? I think offensive players have been out of form a little bit. Diaz, Nunez, Jota, although he scored last week, out of form until then. Gakpo back from injury. It's not quite clicking, but Conor Bradley's back. I think that'll make a big difference for them. And Salah's just announced he signed a new deal. That will get Anfield buzzing. The Premier League title is enough, but throwing in the fact that Salah's committed his future, that is huge. It's like a new signing essentially for them, isn't it? I think that will turn the atmosphere up a little bit at Anfield. I think it'll be 2-1 Liverpool. Going down to Stamford Bridge, taking on Ipswich. And it all comes down to how much fight and belief do Ipswich still have in the tank. That defeat against Wolves last week would really have killed them. Any hope gone. But this isn't a fixture I think they should be terrified of. I think they should be turning up with this with their sleeves rolled up, believing they can get 3 points. Because I think if they do, I think there's a chance they do get 3 points from this game. Chelsea, they won 3-0 last night in the Conference League. They weren't great. They looked, and it was a heavily rotated side by Maresca, and I think he did the right thing in the end. It's basically Cole Palmer plus, well, and Reece James plus 9 more, and it got them the win. But they weren't particularly great. Last weekend, they weren't great either. I think they're there to be got at. It just feels a little bit... Chelsea are a strange club at the minute to work out. I think Maresca's a strange coach to work out as well. Cole Palmer has not turned up for quite some time. You just never know. I think they're going to do it. I think it's too little too late. But my prediction is Chelsea 1, Ipswich 2. Wolves take on Spurs, and this is another team that should just be focusing elsewhere. Tottenham were very impressive against Frankfurt. Pains me to say that, but I thought they were the better side. Unlucky not to win, hitting the bar twice in the last 15 minutes and a worldy save as well from someone's effort. I can't recall who it was, but it was a top-class save. Bentancur was very unlucky not to score. Bergvall hit the bar. Tottenham were good. They should focus on the Europa League. Look, they're not getting relegated. They're not even going to get top half in the Premier League. Who cares? If they finish 15, 16, 17, 14, who cares? You'll class it as a disastrous season regardless. But if they win the Europa League, it will become a fantastic season. Just like that. The league position doesn't matter. If they finish 17th and don't win the Europa League, it's a disastrous season. They finish 17th and win the Europa League, it's a fantastic season. Just like that. And it should be. Winning the Europa League would be an incredible achievement, regardless of who you are. They should go all out. They can win in Frankfurt next week. And I think they will. As a result, I think they will heavily rotate for this one. Andrew's finally got his players back. But for a side that's been so injury-plagued, the last thing you want to do this weekend is risk injuries. You don't want to do it. You want to protect your key players. I think Wolves are in great nick, great form. Big win last week. I think they'll keep on going. I think they've got the motivation to keep climbing the table. I'm going to go 2-0 Wolves at the Molineux. Then up to the northeast, as it's Newcastle against Man United. I'm going to go 2-0 Newcastle. Impressive against Leicester. I felt like they could have maybe done more in the second half. But again, for the side that's had 1 or 2 injuries, I understand how and his team just took their foot off the pedal a little bit, cruised through the second half, started substituting his main players, rest them up. They've got a double header this week against Man United and Crystal Palace. Big week for them. Minimum 4 points required. I think they'll get 4 points as well. I think the Newcastle Palace game will be a draw. For those who struggle to do mathematics, I just can't see Man U laying a glove on them, to be honest with you. Now, I didn't watch Man U Lyon. Didn't watch it. I watched the Tottenham game. But it's hard to see. Newcastle are very hard-working, very organised side. How tactically really good. At the minute, Newcastle are on form, on and off the pitch. Man U are the complete opposite. Easy win for Newcastle. Comfortable win for Newcastle. Then on Monday night, the Premier League comes to a conclusion this weekend as Bournemouth take on Fulham. And you look at the league table, you think, hey, 2 teams, European football, this will be good. Bournemouth are just knackered, shot to bits. No win in 7 for Bournemouth now. They played us last weekend, so I got a good look at them. Wasn't much there. Hopefully Cliver will be back for them. That'll make a significant difference. But Fulham were looking a little bit, not giving up, but they were looking a little bit stale for a couple of games. Big win against Liverpool. That's what they needed. There you go. If you want something to get the last push towards the end of the season, you're sitting in 8th place. Fulham have gone into this week, just beating Liverpool, sitting in 8th. Then they discover 5th is Champions League. So that means 6 is European football and 7 is European football. 8th might be European football. Do you need more motivation? I don't think so. I think Fulham will be licking their lips. And I actually think the Conference League would be the perfect competition for Fulham. I think it would be the perfect competition for Crystal Palace, for Bournemouth, for Brighton. Not for Villa. I think Villa, Newcastle, they should have aspirations of minimum Europa League, and they're good enough for that as well. The other clubs, they'd be all right in the Europa League, but I think they'd win the Conference League. If Fulham, Palace, whichever Premier League team qualifies for the Conference League next season, they will be favourites, and I think they will go on and win it. Fulham should be going all out for 8th place and trying to get 7th place as well, just in case. I think they win. I think they win on Monday. I'm going to go Bournemouth 1, Fulham 2. Anyway, thank you very much for joining me. £5 on those 10 results. 74 grand. If I don't do any videos next week, it's because all 10 results came in and I don't need to make videos anymore. Happy days. But anyway, thank you very much for joining me. Do get involved in the comments below. Let me know your score predictions. It's just a bit of fun. It's nothing too serious. But please do also subscribe. Also drop a like on the video as well by clicking thumbs up. Generally helps the video out, helps the channel out a lot. I'm trying to make this a thing. And I'm not going to lie, it gives me a motivational boost. If I check the statistics from the video and it's getting likes and getting subscribers, I feel happy. And makes me go, going to do another video. I won't be a stranger, so stick around and I will catch up with you in a bit.